tell-a-tape for this one. Same height, the reach advantage on the side of the fighter from Kansas, Robert Fechner.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this bout is scheduled for 4 rounds in the super featherweight division. Your judges for this bout at ringside are Zachary Young, Jack Reese, and Fernando Villarreal. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge is Rudy Barragan. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing the black trunks. He officially weighed in at 127.4 pounds. He is looking for his first professional victory. Joining us from Liberal, Kansas, please welcome Robert Fechner. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner. He's wearing the multicolored trunks. He officially weighed in at 127.2 pounds. He is undefeated in the ring, 2 victories, no defeats, 1 draw, 2 big wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of and representing Atascadero, California, please welcome Joseph JJ Subia. Now to give final instructions is your referee in charge, Rudy Barragan.
Belt's going to be good right here, okay? Right in the middle of the 805, okay? I need for you guys to do me a favor. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. You guys got 4 rounds, okay? Good luck.
Rudy Barragan, the third man of the ring, as we're scheduled for 4 rounds in our opening bout here at DMG Promotions inside Thunder Studios in Long Beach, California. 12 fights coming your way total. Should be a good one. A lot of hot young prospects on their way, but it's up for Joseph Subia. See what kind of show that he puts on. Bet the around alongside Mike Rodriguez, the crime fighting come in. Mike, last time we saw Subia, he had his hands full. He went to the distance, a split draw. That was against Santiago Rio Sentimental, who was undefeated. See how he looks tonight.
Yeah, it was a really good fight. It was very competitive fight. And Subia looks like he's coming out with a little more intent and kind of taking the fight to Fechner a little bit right now.
Yeah, one judge in his last fight had him winning 40-36. The other one had him losing 39-37. One of them had a draw. So a split draw last time for Subia. But this is things that a young fighter needs to learn as you progress, because Subia turned pro last year, got 2 early KOs against guys who were looking for a win, and stepped up in competition and realized, hey, there's levels as you progress as a young fighter.
Yeah, and it's good development. He's a good amateur. I'm not sure if Fechner's going to provide much of a stern test. He also was looking for that first win. What I don't like about Fechner's doing is he stands straight up and he's a big target.
He wore a left hook, did Fechner, and now he eats a right hand from the fighter in the yellow from the 805 representing. As Subia putting the pressure on here in the first round, going to the body.
I like that. There was 2 really good body shots that he threw.
Ah, that's a good left hook there. He just dropped them. Subia coming out hot.
Referee Rudy Barragan, he's going to keep a watchful eye on this. He's not going to let this thing get too out of hand.
See what kind of work that Fechner's going to have. Fechner got knocked out in his pro debut in December. Like I was saying, he fought just 2 weeks ago. Actually, last week.
Yeah, he's got a very straight-up style that allows him to get punched pretty much with any punch, as Subia lands a really good left hook downstairs.
Body work again from Subia. A lot of punishment. Rudy Barragan's looking. I don't know how much longer he's going to let it go, and he stops it here in the first round. Good performance from Joseph Subia. Coming off a draw. Come out here, don't play with your food, take care of business in the first round. And it's officially 2:05 of the first round for Subia, who's now 3-0 with 3. Actually, no, 3-0-1 with 3 stoppages.
Very nice effort for him. He didn't play with his food tonight. And I'm sure after that draw, I think him and his team are real happy with the first round KO.
That's what you like to see right there. Come in, take care of business.
He definitely fought with some more intent. He was not going to leave it into the judges' hands tonight. As you mentioned, one judge had it for him, one judge last fight had it for Sentimental, and the other one had it to draw. So for the judges, it was kind of a dealer's choice.
But you like to see that, Mike, because you work with so many different fighters where the development of a young fighter, you're coming up, but it's how you respond after your previous fights. We're going to look at the highlights of this first fight.
Yeah, and there you see Subia. He's not really respecting Fitchner's power. Fitchner's a really big target. He hit him with a right hand, a left hook. He took the knee. And then right here, as we close out the fight, referee Rudy Barragan was not going to let this thing get too out of hand. There's the knee again. A glancing left hook right as he went down. And you're going to see a stoppage right here. And you can see the ref, who did a great job. He's right there on top of it. He was not going to let him take any unnecessary punishment.
Yeah, especially when you're a young fighter, especially a 4-round fight, you want to make sure you protect the fighter to live another day, to fight another day. And a guy like Fekter, give him credit. He fought last week. He takes the fight short notice, and he gets stopped. But congratulations to Joseph Subia, and let's make it official with Marco.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes and 5 seconds into round number 1. Your referee in charge, Rudy Barragan, calls a halt to the bout for your winner by KO victory, and still undefeated from Atascadero, California, Joseph JJ Subia.
Hey, for a fighter like Subia, like that, get right back into it. Monday, go back to the gym, get after it.
And his family, I think they own a gym up there in Atascadero.
So our first fight ends early. We still got 11 more to go here. DMG Promotions at Thunder Studios in Long Beach, California, becoming a great spot for development shows in the LA area. There you see his manager, Mark Habibi, with the sunglasses on, signing a lot of young fighters.
As both fighters got ready to fight tonight to open up the action, there you see Subia fighting with a lot of intent tonight. Sporting some really nice trunks by El Jefe. Representing the Atascadero, he made short work of it. What I liked about what he didn't ignore the body. He didn't respect Fitchner's power, and he went right to work to get that early stoppage. And I think these kind of fights are really good to open up the action, to get the crowd warmed up as we get ready to move farther along into the night.
Yeah, it came out aggressive. You like to see that? Get after it. And you should be doing.
Well, yeah, last fight he did come out aggressive, but I think he got some resistance for the first time in his pro career and ended up being a draw. But like I said, he wasn't going to do that tonight.
Let's look at the tail of the tape. Cuesta is a taller fighter, and he has a reach advantage in this fight. He's also 4 years younger.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this bout is scheduled for 6 rounds in the welterweight division. Your judges for this bout at ringside are Zachary Young, Jack Reese, and Fernando Villarreal. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge is Gerard White. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing the black with silver. He officially weighed in at 146 pounds even. In 14 bouts, he has 8 victories, 5 wins coming by way of knockout. 100% Michoacano de Ciudad Hidalgo, Michoacán, Mexico. Please welcome Eduardo El Tarasco Trejo. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner. He's wearing the black with red. He officially weighed in at 144.8 pounds. His professional record, 12 victories, only 1 defeat. 4 wins coming by way of knockout, fighting out of and representing San Diego, California. Please welcome Jaime Cuban Flash Cuesta. Now we give final instructions. Your referee in charge, Gerard White.
Eduardo, Jaime, we went over the rules in the dressing room. Both of you guys know what I expect out of you. I'm going to let him work to right here. You can work to right here. Let's touch him up. Let's go to work, guys.
All right, Gerard White, the third man in the ring. Zach Young, Jack Reese, Fernando Villarreal the judges. This was scheduled for 6 rounds. This is interesting matchmaking here.
It is, because at face value, Cuesta's not a big puncher. Trejo's been in with some big punchers, and I'm interested to see if he comes out and tries to take the fight to Cuesta.
Mentioned Cuesta was in the ring back in November. He got the victory.
He had his only loss of his career up in Toronto last year in one of his 3 fights in 2025.
Yeah, he went up there and fought Mark Smither, a good Canadian fighter.
Yes.
That was a good challenge for him. That was the only loss. And Smither is at the time was 13-1. And overhand right by Cuesta lands flush. Cuesta with the red boots on. Trejo in the black.
It's a welterweight fight, but neither one of these guys look super big for welterweight. They do look more like junior welterweights.
This was scheduled for 6 rounds. After this will be Claudio Rodriguez and Obed Sepulveda. Cuesta with Tiger Smalls and Ali Smalls in his corner. Trejo having Francisco Garcia, Jesus Beltran. Of course, that is the Tiger Smalls and Ali, the fighting family down in San Diego. And for Trejo, he trains out of the Joel Diaz, Antonio Diaz training camp. He doesn't train with them, but they use him a lot as a sparring partner for all those crazy Uzbeks that they got out there. So he's getting that quality work every single day.
And in a show or two back, remember Joel Diaz ended up working with one of those sparring partners who came out with a victory, a kid that just kept coming back to the gym. Trejo's definitely not intimidated, and he's throwing some shots. The only thing I don't like what he's doing is after he punches, he kind of falls over and kind of ties himself up. But it's going to be up to Cuesta to work himself out of those predicaments.
Man, you only got 6 rounds, so you got to work quick. 12 fights total. We already saw a stoppage with Joseph Subia in the first round. Looks like the veterans here are filling each other out. They only got time to work.
I'm not going to be surprised if these guys clash heads.
Why do you say that?
Only because Trejo kind of leads with his head, and then they're both falling over, kind of tying up after every exchange of
Yeah, I
punches.
see that there from Trejo, the big swing and a miss, and he just leads with it, yeah.
He seems to be like he's going to be okay with that.
Yeah. And that's a crime fighting command, Mike Rodriguez. So you could just tell right away, like, okay, I'm going to be working tonight.
That's one of the things that I look at when I'm watching the first 2 rounds of a fight. What's going to be the probability that these guys are going to clash heads?
Good left hook landed by Cuesta. Final seconds of the opening round. DMG Promotions on a Friday night from Thunder Studios in Long Beach. Thanks for joining us wherever you may be.
We go to some highlights, and you can see Trejo. Sometimes he'll lead with the hook. He's kind of unorthodox because he's not a smooth boxer, and he really likes the left hook a lot. I think it's an opportunity for Cuesta, if he's on his P's and Q's, can counter, but I could tell right away Cuesta is not a big puncher. And it's not because he's not physically strong. He just appears that he does not sit down on his punches and turn his shots over, as we like to say.
Cuesta got a stoppage. His last stoppage was in August inside these same studios. It was a 7th round stoppage of Brian Mercado, who was 11-7 at the time. Cuesta's last fight went the distance, 8 rounds, 12-1-1. And you're right, Mike, most of his stoppages have been early on in his career that started in 2022 for Jaime Cuesta.
So a guy like him that doesn't have a lot of power, he needs to bank those rounds, and he needs to be really stiff with his jab and try to avoid taking punishment. And guys like Trejo, they're going to make their money and make their mark by making it a rough fight, as you can see, kind of using his head, using his shoulders, and be content to take a couple before they land one. But the thing with Trejo is everything he throws is pretty hard.
Yeah, last time that Trejo was in this building, he was going toe-to-toe with Amado Vargas back in March. and he lost the majority decision. One judge had it a draw, and I would tell you this. At the end of the night, when the cards were announced, there were a lot of people cheering for Trejo that night. He did really, really well.
And that's what fight fans want. They can, not going to say they're fickle, but they'll start rooting for a guy that has momentum that at face value didn't look like he had much hope to start.
Yeah, in his last fight, he lost the decision to Price Sparrow, a young prospect out of Philadelphia. He fought at that 2,300 arena. So that's the kind of guy that Trejo is. He'll have the gloves, like you said. I'll fight you anywhere, give you the different looks. And before that, though, he got knocked out by big-time Golden Boy prospect Joel Iriarte. And it was the body shots that took care of him. Iriarte, you know him really well.
Yes, I remember that fight, and I've worked fights at the 2,300 arena in Philly because I've worked with a lot of Philly fighters. So.
Oh, that's right, J-Rock.
J-Rock, Tevin Farmer, Kyron Davis.
Yeah, that 2,300 in Philadelphia, they say you got to fight your way out of there. Not just in the ring, also getting out of the building.
Yeah, it's a tough hustle sometimes over
Love
there.
it, though. It's a real old school. Just like in LA, these have the Olympic Auditorium.
Absolutely.
Different venues, and you got to work your way up, and that's what Quest is trying to do, as is Trejo. Trejo knows his role. He's that journeyman who's going to be around and test the young prospect.
Well, I'll tell you what Trejo just did. He landed a really good, jab right there, but Trejo landed a really good body shot underneath. And as you can see, he's starting to fight with some confidence. He's starting to walk Cuesta down a little bit. I don't know if, as he lands another good body shot.
Yeah.
And I think after being in Joel Diaz's gym with a lot of heavy hitters, he's not respecting Cuesta's power at all right now.
Yeah, he's training with those Uzbeks, with guys like Madrimov, a guy like, who's the other 47, Shakram Gyasa.
Yes.
He's training with those guys that Joel and Antonio have. Not training side by side, but when you're being used as a sparring partner, you're going to learn a thing or two.
Good uppercut right there.
Good job at Cuesta.
And Trejo had a really good round,
And this is the case, though, when it's only 6, you have to be able to move.
And one of the things I hope that the judges give a guy the due credit for the work that they're doing, you know, within that round. As we take a look at some highlights from round 2, Trejo lands a good right hand. He's really trying to land that uppercut. And part of his game plan appears to be to kind of punch and hold. And right now, Cuesta's not doing enough to create the necessary space that I think he needs to be effective. And if you look at these highlights, most of the highlights in round 2 were by Trejo. We got a real good fight brewing right here as we move into round 3. I think both guys probably on the cards have both won a round.
Scheduled for 6, Jaime Cuesta with the red boots. Eduardo Trejo, the veteran from Mexico. Mike, you've been in many corners, whether it's with Freddie or whatever training you're working with, and you have these young kids that are coming up like a Cuesta, and you have to test them against these rugged, awkward style Mexicans who don't care about your record, don't care who you're signed with. They honestly, most of the time, they don't even know your name. They'll just fight you, and you cannot let them hang around.
And you give a guy hope, and especially a guy that not just from Mexico. He's obviously made a transition to come down here and train and spar with world-class fighters. He's not going to be intimidated. He's not going to be intimidated with Cuesta. And as you can see, he's starting to build some momentum in this fight. He's not fighting like he came in here expecting to take an L.
Well, and that was exactly what he did the last time we saw him.
He's in really good shape.
Slips that shot.
And he
countered
yes.
very nicely.
That awkward style right there, that kind of stop, start, hold, it'll really break your rhythm, and it's definitely part of his game plan. Cuesta finally moved his hands on the inside, landed a couple of body shots. But as you can see, every time he punches, the one going backwards is Cuesta. That was a good right hand.
But a good counter by Trejo. You're right, Mike. Cuesta doesn't have that power. And Trejo is just standing there, like, engaging in it.
Yes, right now there's nothing that Cuesta is doing that's getting Trejo off of him. And he needs more of that. He needs to be a little stiffer with that double jab, meaning Cuesta, as he's moving around the ring, trying to give some angles this round. And what does Cuesta do? He pins him up against the ropes, lands a good left hook, and then he ties him up.
The Cuban Flash, Jaime Cuesta. Training at Tiger Small's gym down in San Diego.
You know, Beto, Trejo's not a defensive wizard, but I'm going to tell you one thing he does really well. He knows how to control the range when he's outside, just to stay out of Cuesta's power. It's actually surprising considering when he's moving forward, he really likes it rough and with a lot of holding. Good body shot by Cuesta underneath.
There it is.
And that might have been that moment of pause.
Mouthpiece went out, and Cuesta just kicked it. And referee Gerard White jumped right on it. I had no cleaning it nothing. Let's just put it right back in. Let's go.
I guess when you're fighting, you're not worried about it. That mouthpiece is clean.
You got a rugged guy in front of you. You're just trying to fight. And now it's starting to pick up here. There's shots right at the bell by both fighters.
Yeah, the action really heated up there that last 45 seconds, and I think round 4 is gonna be more of the same. Good action round. DMG Boxing on a Friday night from Thunder Studios.
And make sure you follow the DMG Boxing social media account, as our social media guys are doing fantastic work posting the results immediately and highlights from the fights. So right now you can go to see the JJ Subia knockout from the first fight. It was a first rounder.
And speaking of highlights, both guys exchanging. Trejo landing it appears to be the harder punches. And this is where the fights start. When you get to the 4th and the 5th round, fighters can separate themselves as far as who's going to take control of the fight.
Fourth round scheduled for 6. Good back and forth between Cuesta and Eduardo Trejo.
You know, records can be very deceiving. Very deceiving.
Now, we said that from the get-go with Trejo, just because we saw him in his last fight, what he could do. And a guy like him, you only get 6 rounds. You have to do something to separate yourself.
And that last round was closer. I think the first 2 rounds were very definitive, in my opinion, who won the round. I like what Trejo's doing right now. He's got the high guard. He's actually being a little bit more defensively responsible. And sometimes that'll happen when a fighter starts to get a little bit tired and they burn off that nervous energy. It's good when they can get back to the fundamentals.
Mike, you see underneath the left eye of Trejo, what is that?
It looks like a mouse brewing underneath that left eye. And the concern there that I always have is you don't want the mouse under the eye to start connecting toward the top of the eye, because that's what's going to give you swelling that will impair the vision. I'd like to take a look the next round to see how much and how effective they are to getting something cold on there, whether it be an ice bag or an end swell.
Yeah, because that just popped up. It wasn't there last round.
I started to see it a tiny bit, but as you can see, it's starting to expand a little bit, and he just wiped his eyes, so he might be feeling a little bit uncomfortable.
And that's from a punch?
More than likely, that's going to be from a punch, because had it been from a headbutt, it would have probably been a lot worse trauma.
What about a poke, like a thumb?
That also. Sometimes when a fighter punches, they don't close their gloves all the way, and they're starting to exchange back and forth pretty good here. They both close the distance.
Something happened there, because Cuesta stopped in his tracks, and now Trejo jumping on him.
Yeah, something did bother Cuesta.
Yeah, the mouthpiece is out for Cuesta.
Oh, I don't like that.
Out.
I don't like that the referee.
Yeah, that was interesting, because Trejo had momentum.
There wasn't a break in the action. There wasn't a break in the action. And to me, he looked like Cuesta did that to create some kind of...
It's the second time the mouthpiece has gone out.
Competitive advantage.
But before that, though, it looked like Cuesta got stopped against the ropes.
Yes. I don't know if it was a sneaky body shot underneath. Good shot right there.
Deflected a bit by the Cuban Flash, Cuesta.
Yeah, deflected a bit means that part of that landed.
Yeah.
That's Latin for part of that hit me.
That right hand hit me. Another right hand by Trejo. And Trejo is being the aggressor here in the 4th round.
And when a fighter shakes it off that it didn't hurt,
it hurt.
Yes. Like the bread man Stephen Edwards always says, every punch hurts.
Yeah.
Some just hurt more than others.
Final seconds of round number 4. This was scheduled for 6 rounds. Our second bout of the night, DMG Promotions in Long Beach, California, Thunder Studios.
Good round for Trejo. Cuesta had some moments at the beginning of the round, but I think overall Trejo controlled that round.
Yeah, that corner of Trejo, they got that.
And they're doing a good job. That good, hard, direct pressure, especially with somebody standing in front. You get that leverage, that proper leverage that you need. And you want to get on there in that minute rest. You want to get it on there as much as possible. And I like what they're doing. They're not trying to move it around. They're not trying to pretend like they're putting the makeup on. They're just giving good, hard, direct pressure. As we look at Cuesta.
Clean.
I think he needs to establish himself a little bit more this round, because I think Trejo is starting to dictate the pace of the fight as we head into round 5.
It looks like they took control of that swelling, that mouse of Trejo on the left eye.
And all you can do is get your fighter ready for the next round. What happens in that round, you cannot control, and they did an excellent job mitigating that swelling.
Coming up next, Claudio Rodriguez and Obed Sepulveda. And then the women, Maya Hernandez and Fayed Ann.
Looking forward to seeing Maya Hernandez again. She made her debut a couple of months ago. She brought a very big crowd from the high desert.
Yep. Cuesta's not trying to engage at all, is he? Get in, get out?
Yes, but he's not. He's missing a lot of those jabs against Trejo, who you wouldn't think as a really good defensive fighter. But you know, I'm going to correct myself, because Trejo's a little bit more fundamentally sound than what I gave him credit for at the beginning of the fight. He really knows how to smother shots, and he really is good at controlling range and countering off that range.
Good jab by Trejo, follow with the right hand, a left
Good
hook
left
now.
hook. As you see,
Uppercut again, and this time a left hook landed by Cuesta. Best shot of the night for Cuesta. As Trejo's trying to hold on, eating left hook after left hook.
yes, and that definitely bothered Trejo. You can actually look at him. He's really holding on now, not holding on to create an advantage.
But then he answers with an uppercut, does Trejo.
This turned into an excellent fight. And I think that's exactly what Cuesta needed, Beto. But right there, he smothered himself when he didn't need to. And he puts himself in a position where Trejo can have the most success.
And Gerard White separates them. Center of the ring as they're standing there.
And Trejo got a warning for holding, and Cuesta's corner was real happy about that. You heard him say that's about time.
Yeah, that's that veteran move where you're doing it away from the referee. And a right hand from Trejo.
And that was a very eye-catching shot. It wasn't a devastating shot, but it definitely got the fans and the judges' attention. As Cuesta's holding on a little bit.
Yeah, this time it's Cuesta the one holding.
And Trejo's swinging for the fences right now.
Cuesta got tagged. Mike, he's holding here.
Yes, he did.
30 seconds to go in round number 5.
These rounds are going by quick in this fight.
Well, the action is there. The pace is here.
Definitely the pace.
Right hand again from Trejo. The bigger shots have been landed by Trejo.
Yes, Cuesta had that really good sequence in the middle of the round. But then Trejo looked like he controlled the rest of the round. Interesting to see how the judges have these things scored, because as we know, sometimes they're not looking at the same things we're looking at.
It'll be Zach Young, Jack Reese, and Fernando Villarreal, veteran judges.
Yes, 3 excellent judges. As we take a look at the corner of Trejo and hit some highlights here. Most of the round was fought in the center of the ring. Both guys had their moments in the round. And right there, as you can see, that jab and right hand that pushed Cuesta up against the ropes really bothered him. We're going to see a lot of action in this 6th round, because both guys have to feel like this fight is theirs to win. And referee Gerard White's going to have them touch him up at the center of the ring as we head into round 6.
This is where, if you're a fighter like Trejo, who has a record of 8-6, you can't leave it. You got to leave everything out there.
Yes, because I'm sure that he's felt that he's been on the short end of a couple decisions.
Yeah.
Fights that I'm sure he thinks he won.
One that we worked last year. Overhand right from Trejo. Cuesta, the Cuban Flash, standing in the middle with him. Kind of sense that Cuesta should be stepping on the gas.
Yes, but every time he's tried to step on the gas on the heavy exchanges, he has gotten the worst of it, with the exception of the one time in the middle of the last round. I just like fighters like Trejo, man.
Yeah.
He's just a good, solid journeyman fighter. He kind of reminds me
Mouthpiece
of...
again. Oh, Gerard jumped in there.
Yeah, but at some point,
That's the third time.
At some point, you have to give a warning or take a point away. And he is taking a point away.
He's taking a point away. The mouthpiece is flying, and that is very, very big if the judges have this one close.
Yes, but you know what? Cuesta didn't leave him any choice. He really didn't, because the one from 2 rounds ago looked like he did it to create a competitive advantage, because he got hit with a couple of shots. And I was going to say the trail kind of reminds me of a fighter that was just tough, that fought everybody out of the Coachella Valley, Angel Osuna.
Oh, man.
And he fought on a bunch of Golden Boy cards, and he was just a tough guy and a
rugged
nice
dude.
Rugged dude.
Oh, good
shot.
1-2 from Trejo.
That was a nice short left hook, right hand. And I have to think, from a fighter's mentality, Beto, that Trejo thinks he's going to win this fight.
There's no urgency from Cuesta.
No, but you can just tell that Trejo's physically a stronger fighter as he lands a good uppercut on the inside. It's not artistically beautiful, but he's finding a home for that right uppercut and a good left hook to the body. And I think if you're Cuesta, you're going to have to sell out here, because you just lost a round. And if you lose this round, that's a 10-8 round. And a 6-round fight, that's going to be pivotal in judges' scoring.
And there was a couple of real close rounds. You said the first 2 distinctive. After that, the middle ones have been close.
Yes, the 3rd and the 4th round especially.
Does Cuesta look frustrated?
I just think that everything he's tried to do really hasn't worked effectively like he would think and his record would indicate.
He's getting tagged upstairs.
Yes, he is. And one of the criteria that somebody told me a long time ago, when you're watching a fight and judging it, who would you rather be in the round?
Ah, that's a good point right there. Give me the journeyman, Eduardo Trejo, right now. Yeah, we said it from the get-go, you cannot let these guys hang around.
And he would be the second guy that's mainly a sparring partner out of Joel Diaz's gym, that's coming in here and gave a great account of himself against fighters with a really good record.
Yeah. Cuesta 12-1. Final seconds of the fight. Good action, good back and forth between Jaime Cuesta and Eduardo Trejo. And it'll go to the judges' scorecard. How do they have it after 6?
Excellent fight, and I hope the judges get it right, because in my opinion, Trejo deserves to get this decision.
We'll see. We'll see.
He thinks he won.
I think the crowd thinks he won too.
Our good friend Seth Cruz from Sabas Gloves checking in with me right now via text, all the way out in Vegas. He's hanging out with one of his close friends, our good friend Caesar.
Oh, yeah.
Not sure what they're doing, but I'm sure they're having a good time doing it.
Yeah, they're watching good fights tonight. 2 down, 10 more to go. DMG Promotions in Long Beach, California.
He texted me and said, hey, keep an eye out on Maya Hernandez. And we mentioned her earlier, and we're definitely keeping an eye on her.
Maya's 2 fights from now.
And there you see Trejo. You know what? Hats off to him.
Yeah. Good job by his corner working that mouse, because there's no swelling now.
And that's when you see the Joel and Antonio Diaz influence as we take a look at.
Yeah, it's a good fight. You go 6 rounds, good quality work back and forth. The judges are tallying the cards up. So you think Trejo edged this?
I do, and especially with that 1-point deduction,
Yeah.
which was totally the right thing to do by the referee, Gerard White. Cuesta did not leave him. You can't spit your mouthpiece out 3 times.
Yeah, that final point taken away, that's huge.
In a 6th round, definitely.
I mean, it's huge anytime, but especially when you have only 6 rounds. Our ring announcer, Marco Rodriguez, has the cards. He's working his way into the ring, and the anticipation is building up. All right, Marco, what do the judges have?
All right, Long Beach. Before we go to the judge's decision, make some noise one more time for both of these young men that left it out of the ring tonight. After 6 rounds, these are the score totals. Judge Zachary Young and Jack Reese both see about the same, 57-56. And Judge Fernando Villarreal sees about 58-55. All for your winner by unanimous decision. De Ciudad Hidalgo, Michoacán, México, Eduardo El Tarasco Trejo.
Good for him.
That point deduction was the difference. If not, we have a majority draw.
Yes.
Wow.
And a lot of times we'll disagree with the point deduction, but in this case, I believe it was fair, and the right guy won the fight.
And there you see, on a DMG promotion show, DMG Boxing in Long Beach, Eduardo Trejo on the B side comes in and gets the victory. Let's look at the highlights from this good 6-round fight.
Excellent action fight. That's what you can expect from DMG. And guess what, Beto? In addition to their April 11th card at the Chelsea, at the Cosmo in Vegas, they're going to be back here March 27th. DMG doing big things. They're getting this 2026 started off right as we see the action with Trejo. Landed the harder shots. Cuesta just could not figure out Trejo's rhythm all night and took a lot of good power shots. And it's always nice when the judges get it right and the right guy wins.
They went back and forth, and early on, though, you saw Cuesta was starting to have trouble with Trejo, and Trejo was landing the bigger shots, Mike.
Yes, he did. He was the heavier puncher, and I think we kind of got that at face value when we saw when we saw Cuesta's record with the 13 fights with only the 4 knockouts.
So